This is a video that is intended to show you one story that came up this week, and that was the NASA shares a stunning Hubble Space Telescope photo of Saturn's rings. So NASA supposedly took a picture of Saturn and its rings, and using Hubble telescope they brought back this image right here. I'm going to make it bigger. So right here. So what it literally is like what they probably use is like a piece of wood. Somehow they just like distorted the piece of wood, put like a circle tool around it, and they probably cropped everything out, okay, and then they made the background black maybe, or they went straight to the rings. They took some sort of like cup holder maybe, and then cropped the cup holder. Then they sort of just distorted, made it a little oval shaped, and then put some coloring into it and made it look like it had rings, literally. It's like, who would believe this is a real photo? I don't get it. People believe this is real, and that's sad. So NASA and the European Space Agency shared the newest photo of Saturn taken by the Hubble telescope, and the planet's rings are on full display. The photo is one of the clearest photos ever taken of Saturn. Since the Hubble can snap high-resolution images of other planets in our solar system better than pretty much anything else except the spacecraft that visits the planet. NASA and the ESA said in an announcement sharing the photo released Thursday. So all of a sudden, after Hubble being up there for so many years, we finally zoomed in on Saturn and got this high image resolution photo. God. Saturn's signature rings are still as stunning as ever. They're still there. The image reveals that the ring system is tilted toward Earth, giving viewers a magnificent look at the bright icy structure. Well, we've learned a lot about the gas giant's rings in recent decades, including that they are composed of ice and dust in orbit around the planet. Much about them is still a mystery. Astronomers still can't agree on how old the rings are. And they also don't know what caused them to form in the first place. The new Hubble images show that Saturn has a turbulent dynamic atmosphere. Kids, if you're watching this, do not believe in this stuff. Not real. Okay, let's watch this video. Supposedly, you see the moons orbiting Saturn as well. Wow. Yeah, give me a break. You know, that Kit Kat bar here, guys. It's speechless. You know, you're not speechless every week, but sometimes you get really speechless about what they put out and what they expect you to believe. This is just a speechless moment, a speechless story. The latest Saturn photos are part of the Outer Planet Atmosphere Legacy Project. Opal. The Hubble has been on a roll lately. On Wednesday, NASA said that it had been used to discover an Earth-like exoplanet known as K2-18b, the so-called super-Earth, 110 light years away, and has water vapor in the atmosphere, meaning it could support life. In August, the Hubble captured beautiful images of a cosmic jellyfish. the planetary nebula NGC 2022 in the constellation of Orion. 110 light years away. And they have science that tells them that it has water vapor in the atmosphere. Okay. They have technology that it can see 110 light years away and look at the color, supposedly, or whatever they use, and deduce the fact that it has water vapor. Come on. Come on. 110 light years away? You gotta be joking me. Just because there's a little circling piece of plastic with a supposed high optic resolution telescope in orbit. The hexagon. Well, everyone, you are getting hexed. This is all a hex. I'm sorry to say. And if you believe in this stuff, hopefully you will be woke soon. If you do believe this right now, but as a species, there's some people that have been woke for 50 years. Some people have been woke for 5 years, 20 years, 10 years, whatever. I've been woke on this for a couple of years now. Earth is flat. There is no such thing as space, planets, space in general. U.S. moon landing here, joke. India's moon lander, joke. You cannot zoom in on the moon and see anything that was left by anything. No videos, nothing. Okay? So let's see what happened here. So the Indian lunar rover supposedly landed. They lost contact with it, but they found it supposedly, which was it's all false, definitely. So let's see what this story has to say. NASA lunar orbiter to image. So you cannot image anything, and supposedly they were going to the far side of the moon, the dark side of the moon, because the moon does not rotate. They expect you to believe that this ball, supposedly, that all the other planets rotate, but this moon somehow is tidally locked, which means it cannot rotate. Do you see sunspots on the sun? Do you ever see anything happen? Do you see it at all if you zoomed in? No, because it's not happening. No sunspots. No solar flares. This mosaic of the near side of the moon was created using data from NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter will try to locate India's Vikram lander on the moon during a flyover of the landing site Tuesday. Indian space officials said they found the disabled spacecraft on the moon using the country's own Chandrayaan-2 orbiter, but declined to release any images. LRR's high-resolution camera has taken aerial images of the Apollo landing sites with enough clarity to resolve the astronauts' footprints left on the moon more than 40 years later. The NASA orbiter's camera has also imaged China's Chang'e 3 and Chang'e 4 landers on the moon and located the crash site of the Israeli Bereshet spacecraft earlier this year. So they tell you this stuff, that they took images of the landing sites, aerial images, enough clarity to resolve the astronauts' footprints. No, it's all fake. You're telling me the moon is literally right in our atmosphere, they say now. It is literally right there. We cannot... Are you telling me our atmosphere in space distorts the image of the moon and a high-powered telescope from zooming in on a landing site, but you have to have aerial images, okay, to see it. Oh, what a joke. The Indian Space Agency has not confirmed whether the lander is intact on the lunar surface or its orientation. It's not clear Chandrayaan's 2 camera could resolve such details with certainty. We believe that Vikram made a harder landing than they desired on Friday evening, said Glory Glaze, head of NASA's Planetary Science Division, in a presentation Tuesday to the National Academy's Committee on Astrobiology and Planetary Science. Wake up, people. Wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The Chandrayaan 2 missions, Vikram lander, landing craft, and Pragam rover undergo preparations for launch at the Satish Dhawan Space Center on India's east coast. Wow. So, what do we have here? 12 and 6, 6, 6, 6, 6 plus 6, 12 and 6 inches, 32. Freemason. I just looked at this and I just saw this as well. It's always there, 30, 32, 12, 6, something. So, we did have a NASA laser retroflector array flying on that mission. So we'll look out for that as we go forward, just as we continue to look for the laser retroflector array that was on Bereshit. We'll hopefully be getting some images of what the lander said laid to rest. So, again, oh, a joke. So this is an image of the Apollo 17 landing site, of a image in 2011. So so apparently they saw the footpath and the Challenger descent stage, the flag, they put the moon buggy tracks, LVR final parking spot. Meanwhile, Indian scientists are eager to begin analyzing data from the Chandrayaan 2 orbiter, which, as I said, should have a long life of almost 7 years, instead of the planned 1 year, due to a precise launch and injection to lunar orbit. So they always have these predictions, like, this is how they get you. They give you, oh, well, the lifespan is only going to be for about a year. Then after about, 5 months or 6 months, oh, well, due to the circumstances of its projection and its injection and its orbit and the conditions and the gauges, we predict it could actually go on for another 7 years, another 12 years at least. So this is like their way of telling you, oh, well, we're looking into this and we have everything figured out, and things change because we're full of BS and we have to actually say something about something to actually make you believe us. The orbiter has already been placed in its intended orbit around the moon and shall enrich our understanding of the moon's evolution and mapping of the minerals and water molecules in the polar region, using its 8 state-of-the-art scientific instruments. People, do you see any polar regions when you look at the moon? Is there anything that would tell you there's a polar region? Does the moon have ice caps when you look at it at night? No, it doesn't, because I have to tell you that it doesn't, literally. For a lot of people will know it doesn't have real polar regions. Well, you have to get told stuff. For some people out there, they have to get told something repeatedly and shown repeatedly in order for their mind to actually engage in information. And that's what it is like with this. You have to constantly look at all this information and interpret it into a way that makes sense, and you can actually understand the fakery of this. My mind is good right now. I think it's great right now. It's working fine. Before I didn't know about flat Earth, it was, I would say, it was a lost soldier. It thought everything was going to hell in a handbasket. I was in fear. Reptilians were taking over. I would look out my window for aliens. Everything was just a constant state of fear. But when you wake up to the truth and you start figuring out all the stuff, and you understand there's a handful of people doing this stuff, and all these people are just actors playing a role, then you start to realize it, and then you have third eye awakenings, and your third eye awakenings give you clues on how things are run in this realm. And you start to understand things more. You start to see how the energy of the body is, and you start to clear away all the debris and start eating healthy, and you realize there is a creator. And eating healthy, exercising, going out, playing in the sun, going to the beach. I just went to the beach today. I got this cool ass sunburn. It's going to detox my upper body, definitely. I'm kind of sick, but I enjoy being sick because I'm detoxing. Because being sick is actually good for the body. It actually helps you. There's always two ways to look at things. Being sick is, oh, I'm sorry, you're sick. No, sick is cool. Even though you get to sleep in bed. You get to stay in bed and have cool food. I mean, soup and stuff, Okay, so here's some more NASA news. Let's see what other bull we can find. There's some truths and there's some not truths. Half truths. This is how they get away with it. Okay, and some of these stories, they're actually, they probably are building an inflatable space habitat. Things are happening. So here's another one. Let's see. Okay, here's one thing that they have been doing constantly ever since 2016, 2017, since flat Earth started taking off. It's just comets, new comet, asteroid about to hit, asteroid just misses, asteroid could hit here and there and everywhere. And that's how they keep you in fear. That's how they try to keep you in fear. Hopefully they're not keeping you in fear, though. So here's what they do. They focus a anomaly in the firmament. They see it's moving. Something's moving. Oh, it's a comet. And then they make some story about how it's going to hit here or there and everywhere. And they get some fake software, and they use it to deduce that somehow it will hit or go by or something somewhere. So here they're using the telescope on the Big Island to image Comet C 2019 Q4. So a newly discovered comet has excited the astronomical community this week because it appears to have originated from outside the solar system. Oh, the odd. And so if you think they can just look at an object like this and realize where it came from and all this stuff, and they got you there. See, false, true. Okay, this is called half truths. True, false, or false. True. So they true. Maybe the official confirmation that comet is an interstellar has not been made yet. But if it is interstellar, it would be only the second such object detected. The first Oumuamua was observed and confirmed in October 2017. So only 2 such objects have been detected. Interstellar. So you're saying we live in such a huge universe that somehow, for some reason, we've only detected 2 rocks that have been in our solar system that have been from other interstellar places, other solar systems, other things like that. You know how ridiculous that is? If we were truly in space, floating around, going in 5 different directions at millions of miles an hour, we would constantly be getting hit with huge, enormous rocks. There would be no way for us to be here right now. We would be literally destroyed. Like, we would not have any way of surviving at all a day. You know, we'd have to somehow build, you know, some sort of structure underneath, subterranean structure, and like some sort of force field to block all the incoming debris that we would be experiencing. Because there's supposedly billions and billions of other stars with other planets around them. Well, wouldn't you think they would have rocks too? And so supposedly they go around this. Supposedly they would go around the sun, somehow not getting heated up and burned to a crisp. They orbit around, they go back out. Somehow they come back in like a magic. It's like a magic fairy guides them back in. Sort of like how that comet that comes every 70-something years, Halley's Comet, just magically comes back in. It's all magic. They're all magicians. The person who founded this JPL, his name was Jack Parsons. He was best friends with Aleister Crowley. They were magicians. They were humans. They were in human sacrifice. They were in devil worship, Baphomet worship. That's how they got their power. And this is how they're still getting their power from you. This is how the elite get their power from you. They use it. They use it through symbology. They use it through the vector symbol. They use it through their stooges they send out, the Jesuits. And they get all this power and energy from you, and they suck it from you. And if you think they're just, you know, oh, this is all fairyland, Earth is fairyland, and we love to give you information about everything, and we'll give you the up-to-date information on everything that's happening, and we love you. No, there are forces at work that don't care about what you think, really, in a sense that they care about what you think in a way that is not vibrationally, spiritually attuned to your ascension. Because we're all going to be ascending in this life, next life, and 100 lives. We're all going into ascension process. We're all going up the ladder. Okay, so official confirmation that comet C-2019 is an interstellar comet has not yet been made. But if it is interstellar, it would be the second such object detected. The first, okay, I read that. The new comet is still inbound towards the sun, but it will remain farther than the orbit of Mars, and will approach no closer to the Earth than 190 million miles. After the initial detections of the comet, Scout system, which is located at NASA's Jet Propulsion Lab in Pasadena, California, automatically flagged the object as possibly being interstellar. So they have like this interstellar flagger. Wow, the Scout system. David Farnocchia of NASA's Center for Near-Earth Object Studies at JPL worked with astronomers, and European space agencies near Earth are at Coordination Center in Italy to maintain observations. Oh my gosh, so scientific. A comet is currently 260 million miles away from the sun. 93,000 miles per hour. Okay, do you understand how fast that is going? This is insane. How you think an object like this can be going this fast? 93,000 miles an hour. Okay, the high velocity indicates not only that the object likely originated from outside the solar system, but also that it will leave and head back to interstellar space. Currently on an inbound trajectory, Comet C 2019 Q4 is heading toward the inner solar system. Oh my god. So supposedly, again, rocks, we're going millions of miles an hour through the universe. Rocks, 2 big rocks going very fast have been detected so far. Give me a friggin' break on that BS. So here's another one. They're getting ready for new moon missions. NASA is hard at work getting its new moon-bound rocket and spacecraft ready for Artemis 1, the next mission of the agency's program, which aims to eventually land humans on the lunar surface. This new video, so they're just landing. There's really no plan for anything, really. It's all a show. They're all just trying to land on the moon. They're trying to get ready after 50 years of getting men on the moon. Again, they're gonna see if they can land men on the moon again. You know? Wow. This is the powerful rocket expected to bring astronauts to the moon, and it may also send robotic spacecraft to faraway destinations in the solar system, such as Jupiter's moon Europa. So a structural test article for NASA's Space Launch System rocket is loaded onto the test stand at the Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama on January 14th. Wow. So, mark my words, people. This Artemis 1 will probably and most likely will be rescheduled to 2024. Then the moon landing will be scheduled for 2028 or something, and I'll just keep on going out until they're ready to actually fake it again, which I don't think they're going to try again, because it would be really hard and people would be all over it, and I would descend down like a vulture from hell. Okay, I'm eating grapes, by the way, if anyone's interested. I'm actually a raw vegan, and I highly encourage, if anyone's actually listening to this right now, I would encourage you to go raw vegan, because it is an amazing way to get in calories and to stay in shape and feel good, and to have a mind that actually works, so you can see through all this nonsense. Alright, so next, let's see if we want to dig into NASA more. Remembering 9/11. Oh, how amazing. They're paying tribute. How Ed White, the first American to walk in outer space. Let's see what this says. Let's see what bold this has to say. At a time when America was desperate for a victory in the space race, Ed White became the first American to walk in space and give America a reason to cheer. By John Loeffler. By John Bullshit. Artist. So, here we go. Here we have it. We have no stars. Oh my god, is this supposed to be... hopefully this is not supposed to be 1950 something. Or 1960. So, let's see what it has to say. In 1961, the U.S. was making progress in catching up to the Soviets, having launched a pair of primates into space for a suborbital flight in 1959, as well as the satellite Explorer 6 in the same year. Still, the U.S. lagged behind the USSR's progress. Okay, so the USSR and the U.S., same thing. USSR, U.S., same programs, same science, different names. That's about it. So there really was no Cold War. It was more like a fear war. It was a war of seeing how far they could get away with putting you in fear through the mediums they had, like the television and newspapers. Ed White scores a definitive victory for the U.S. Look at that. Ed White II took after his father in many ways. A West Point graduate and accomplished U.S. Army pilot, White's father brought him into the air at age 12 in a T-6 trainer plane. So all this is, I mean, it's true. I mean, this stuff is true, but they throw in half-truths, like I said, like nonsense in areas. He and the other 8 men underwent the rigorous training of the upcoming Gemini program. So, spacewalk. Oh my god, this is actually during a, this is supposedly a spacewalk. Oh my god. So, this is a long article. So then something happened to Ed White. He was killed in a fire on January 27th, 1967. Oh my god. So those 3 were the only U.S. deaths during the U.S.-Soviet space race. They were probably burned alive as some sort of satanic experiment, satanic ritual, probably. So supposedly this is actually from space in 1960, like 2 or 3 or something, 1961 maybe. Oh my god. Whenever it was. So in let's see here. So when was it? So Ed White was actually, okay, he was on March 18th. Bosch had 2 capsules left in orbit around the Earth and became the first human to walk out. Leonov became the first human to walk in the vacuum of space, spending 10 minutes outside of his spacecraft before landing. So White's mark on history came 3 months later. So this was in 1965. So this was pictured in 1965 right here. And on June 3rd, when his Gemini 4 spacecraft began orbiting Earth, on their third orbit, as the capsule approached Australia, White and NASA astronaut James McDivitt readied White for his own spacewalk. As they passed over Hawaii, White opened the hatch on the capsule and used a pressurized air gun to maneuver. Became the first American to enter the vacuum of space. So this is supposedly a spacewalk. He was tethered by a rope. Here it is again. And so here we have a supposedly, yeah, this is not, they're if they even are doing anything, this is probably not Ed White. They just have helmets on these. It's probably a mannequin, and they put in a space suit over it, and they close the helmet, and they take a picture, and then they crop in a space suit with a mannequin over it. So, bunch of nonsense. If you believe that, then I feel sorry for you. So I'm not gonna go into any more stories, I don't think. So that was it for me today. I'm going to stop it here, and thank you for watching. Subscribe, and hopefully you can maybe get something from this. Thank you.